Hi everyone, this is Margarita with CityGal Palmtrees. In today's video, I will be creating a few shaker tags that I made as thank yous for my son's teachers at his school. Unfortunately, I lost some footage with this video. I also was not able to get photos of the actual tags when they were completed, but you do see me create them in the video. So you just saw the supplies that I use. I have the fuse tool. I use the ruler that comes with the fuse tool. I also use the fusible sheets that are by We Are Memory Keepers and my Fiskars paper trimmer. I cut down the plastic sheets to 3 inches by 5 1/4 to begin, and this is what I'm going to be creating the actual pockets with, or the shaker part of the tags. They actually cut very well. On the paper trimmer, I was afraid that they were going to snag or move while I was cutting them. They stayed in place. It cut very cleanly. I didn't have any issues with using the paper trimmer to cut the fusible sheets. Here I am taking 2 of the rectangular shaped pieces of fusible sheets and I line them up. This is kind of tricky because they do want to slide against one another, and I have to keep adjusting them to keep them straight. Sorry about the fuzzy image here. I was moving around a lot. And then here I have my fuse tool. I go ahead and pass it through. You definitely want to let your fuse tool heat up for a while before using it. This thing gets really hot, so you want to be very careful when you're using it. You see me using the lid of a cookie tin because I tried it on my heat resistant cutting mat that you see below there, the gray one, and it actually melted through that. So you don't want to do that. This is definitely a better option, or if you have like a cutting board or some other type of actual heat resistant platform or something you can use that's not going to melt, would be good. So I go ahead and seal 3 sides of the rectangular sheets, and I didn't speed this up, so this is actually how long it took me to fuse the 3 sides. And you can see that it is now a pocket and it is sealed on all 3 sides. I'm now going to cut my tags. I use these 8x8 sheets of paper to go ahead and make my tags with. I cut them down to 4.5 inches by 2.5 inches. And I made a whole ton of these. I wasn't sure how many I wanted to make. I definitely needed 3 for the teachers at my son's school, but I wanted to have some other ones made in case I wanted to create some additional shaker tags just to have around. So I do cut a lot of them. I've also been wanting to use this really pretty pattern paper that I've had for a little bit now. You see me show you guys these papers in my last paper haul video, and they have lots of glitter and really summery colors. Once I'm done cutting them, I do grab a 1-inch hole punch and I start to punch out some wording from this 12x12 sheet that I anticipate I will be using. I'm not entirely sure at this point if I'm going to be using them or not. And then I grab a tag that I had on hand, and I use those corners to cut out the corners of my new tags. So you see I line it up and then I just cut it along the edge of the corners there, so that I basically use it as a guide, and then I use the one that I cut as a guide to cut the rest of them. In this portion, you'll see me put on an embellishment on the tag. These are some picture frame scrap embellishments that I made in a previous video, And I think some people were asking what I would use these for. So this is what I do use them for. I use almost all of them on these tags. I also made some greeting cards using those picture frame embellishments. I surprisingly I didn't use any of them for scrapbooking because I think at this point I've used them all on the tags and some greeting cards. But I do really like how they looked, and they coordinated very well. Despite the fact that I used a bunch of different scraps, they coordinated quite well with these tags. So I used this black cardstock to put behind the tag to cover the pattern on the back because I didn't think that it went with it. I also wanted to write a message on the back, and then I left the border all the way around. So I also grabbed this pattern paper and I punch out some thank you hearts from this specific message sheet. And I'm right now just trying to get to all of the squares that say thanks or thank you so that I can punch them out with my heart punch. And with this speech bubble die from Hero Arts, I punch out a bunch of little speech bubbles so that I can attach them to the back of the tag with a message that is personalized to each teacher. Again, I cut out a bunch of them, but I only need 3. So I've already written out my message. I am just tracing some lines around my heart just to accent it. And I will be getting glued to the back of the tag with a glue dot. And then I decide to grab a piece of scrap and I just make or I glue a border at the bottom of the tag on both sides just to add a little bit more detail to the tag. I do add it to the front and back. I felt like there was something missing on the back of the tag, so I do end up adding some white stitching to the border of the back of the tag. Here I'm just making sure that it fits well in the pocket, and you see that it fits perfectly. I also added some washi tape to the back there. This is where I lost some footage. I think because I was rushing to make these, I wasn't fully aware of when I was pausing and recording, and I was also home with the kids, so I apologize for that, but I did lose some of the footage, or I didn't capture some of the work that I did. So I grabbed some sequins in different coordinating colors. I put some of them in the pocket and then I spilled some of them, of course, because who doesn't spill sequins? Well, some people don't, but I tend to spill sequins quite often. And then I go ahead and I seal the remaining part of the plastic here. So I go ahead and close in the sequins in the shaker tag. And so again, I don't speed this part up just so you can see exactly like how slowly or how quickly I pass the fuse tool over the plastic. Here I'm trying to figure out how to put this on my tin without spilling all of the little micro beads that were rolling out of the tag. And so once that's completed, I cut the edges off, the excess pieces, and you will see that I have a nice clean tag with all of its contents contained inside of these sealed edges. Now I grab some eyelets and my crocodile, and I go ahead and punch a hole at the top of the tag. Now I do have some really small micro beads in my shaker tag, so I don't want them to fall out. This is why I put in the eyelet. You definitely want to make sure that you have something to seal the plastic so that your contents are not falling out, because by punching the hole, I'm obviously creating an opening where the contents can come out of. I believe I've seen a video where someone created some tags and then made sort of a sealed corner that was separate in order to put their ribbon in. That would be a good way of doing this as well. So you can see it's sealed and my contents shake around and it's not coming out. I grabbed some ribbon, some black satin ribbon in this case that coordinates with the tag. And then I go ahead and loop that through the top hole of the tag. Now before I tie it up, I want to add a gift certificate that I got for each teacher from Amazon, and I do trim it down. I had to edit this very carefully because I didn't want to reveal the gift certificate redemption code, obviously. So I'm just trying to make sure that I'm just showing what the certificate looks like without the actual redemption code. I do cut that out and tape it on the inside of this makeshift card that you print out from Amazon. So I go ahead, fold that up, I punch a hole in it, and then I add that to the back of the tag. So I've got like this nice little thank you package here for each of his teachers. This is my next tag. This picture frame embellishment has some pink vellum on the center, which I think looks really pretty against this pattern paper tag that I have here. So you saw the last picture frame, I glued it down to the tag. This one I'm using double-sided tape, and that's because of the vellum. I didn't want the vellum to buckle, and that tends to happen when you use glue, and I've already glued it to the frame, so I didn't want to add additional glue and possibly buckle it even more. So here I'm trying to figure out what else I want to add to the front of the tag. I wanted to have some type of wording. And I settle on, I can't really read this, but I think it says, "Let life surprise you." I punch a slightly larger circle to use behind it so that it stands out a little better. I have a bad habit of leaving my glue open, so it does tend to give me a hard time when I need to use it because it's starting to dry up. And so this one I put onto this fuchsia colored cardstock to have as a backing, and also for the border around the tag. And I repeat the same process. I use the speech bubble to add a message to the back of the tag. I use my white gel pen to add some stitching, which I believe you'll get to see in a short moment. And then I also add a small scrap edge to the bottom of the front and back of the tag. And I like that it gives it a little something more, as well as some contrast. So here I'm just adding the stitching to the back of the tag. I really like the additional detail that it adds. And then I add a little detail of gold washi tape or rose gold washi tape. And then it's time to put it in the pocket and add my contents. There's some missing footage there. You didn't see the rest of that, unfortunately. And this is the third tag that I create for his teachers. And this one, I settle on that one photo frame. And I use glue again in this case. I apologize if I'm talking very low. Everyone's sleeping in my house. I'm the only one awake right now, so I don't want to disturb anyone. I also use this, I use this light pink cardstock as the backing for this tag. I thought it was really pretty and very feminine. I really like how these tags turned out. I really wish I was able to get some photos of the end result. I think they come out really nice. So the border around the tags is probably about a 1/16 of an inch, it looks like. It's not much bigger than that. I didn't want to add too much because I wanted to make sure that it was going to fit in the fuse pocket. I didn't want to have to go back and like trim it again. So I do try to leave as thin a border as I can that is still, has some substance to it. And so we're doing the same process again with this one, adding the little scrap piece at the bottom. And then I do also add the speech bubble and some stitching on the back. I also added some washi tape details to the tag. I think I did this with each one also. So it was tricky for me to find the contents because I have a lot of sequins, but I don't have that many sequins. And I don't have a huge variety of colors of sequins. So I felt that it was a little difficult for me to find the exact colors that I wanted to add to the shaker contents of the tags. But I think it worked out. I tried to, use as close to the colors on the tags as I could. Here I add a little wording to the front of this tag before completing it. And these are some of my favorite sequins. They're iridescent. I think they are by Derice. I got them at Michael's. They're fairly inexpensive. I think they're under $1, if not like $1 and change. And then this is my sequin stash, so I'm looking for other colors that might coordinate with this tag to add to the contents. So I also add these little orange ones, which I think that once combines with the iridescent, they look a little bit more coral than orange, but they do still coordinate with the tag. And again, you don't get to see the end of this tag, but it's the same process as the first one. I just go ahead and put in the contents, and then I seal the remaining edges of the tag, cut it out. I punch the hole for the tag, use an eyelet to seal it, and then I put the ribbon through with the gift certificate. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I am so sorry that there was some missing footage, but I did want to share these with you guys, and I wanted you to see how I made these. These are some other tags that I made. I didn't completely seal them because I wanted to have them to personalize for other individuals as gifts, so I do have them ready for when I need them. Thank you so much. I hope you guys have a great day, and if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up or subscribe if you want to see more videos like this.